Right. So we've got a variety of people with us from looking like all corners. We're just missing Asia, I think, all corners otherwise of the world. So nice to see you and welcome to our Ealthy webinar for the month of June. We hold regular webinars, and today we're very honoured to have Ioana Crețu with us, and she hails from Romania. She is, quite frankly, an expert in OET, and particularly in OET writing. She's got some, well, several years' experience training OET candidates, and I know for sure because I've attended a couple of her workshops previously that she has some really innovative ideas as to how to best run or how to get the most out of your learners, out of your candidates in terms of OET writing. Just a couple of housekeeping. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A box. I know, however, that this is going to be quite an interactive session, so just see with Ioana how she wishes to manage that. She will tell you, okay? And I will hand it over. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's no pressure. Should I say it? It's my first webinar ever. So let's enjoy it.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, well, plenty of face-to-face sessions and sessions with my students during COVID, but with teachers, no, this is the first. So I'm going to share my screen now and show you what's going on. Cooked a little something for you here. So let's try to avoid death by PowerPoint. I'm inviting you to participate in the chat, but also anonymously in a few quick polls and maybe with some open answers. All you need to do, you can use your phone for this and go to joinpd.com. You don't need to install anything. Just type in these letters, K-E-I-W-E-R. It's not case sensitive, you don't need to spaces, just do that. And it will allow you to participate in some of our proceedings. Oh, there you are. Yeah. 5 people connected, 6, yay. You don't have to do it, but it will also help me gauge a bit like how familiar people here are today with the OET. So I know how much background information I need to share with you so that what we're going to do is going to make sense. 14 people have joined. Wonderful. And there's a little poll just to check that this is working. So the access code stays in the corner of the screen, and I'm going to, where's the chat? Yeah, choose an option. So it's just to test that the polling is working. You can try to answer from your phone if you've joined. Let's see. Yes, it's working. Yes, coffee. Yes, please. Yes, more coffee. Yes. Yeah. And yeah, I sometimes hate these apps, but well, maybe not today. So it is working. Okay. Let us move on now. Ross, I realize I'm not seeing the chat at the same time. And so prompt me, let me see. How can I just give me 1 second. Yeah, I want to get the chat box out so I can see it separately. Okay. There. All right, let's get started. Earlier this year, in April, together with Neil, who's here today, we gave a joint talk about using AI tools and not using AI tools to personalize our work with our clients. And there I talked a bit about the method we're going to go into today, and I showed a couple of samples. I'm not going to show those samples again today. I'm going to show you different ones, but if you want to look at those and get the full talk, I'm going to drop in the chat where you can, there are two ways that you can watch this in full online. So there in the chat, you now have the link to this talk I gave with Neil, with a couple of examples that I'm not going to go into today. Okay, let's move on. I was asking here. Oh, someone was there. Neil, is that you? And no idea. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I figured. It's fine. Totally fine. So just to get a sense of. All right, no worries. But if you're interested in that, you can see it. This is kind of a sequel. Okay. Moving on, a couple of abbreviations. I know not going to go into all of them. The important thing to know is that I spent a lot of time in school and working at university, but I've been working in ESP and specifically English for medical purposes and academic purposes and academic writing since, oh God, 2003. Now today, because it's an Ealthy webinar where teachers are mostly into healthcare communication training, and many of them are OET coaches and teachers and coaches as well. I'm going to use examples from OET writing, but I imagine that you can definitely adapt to other contexts as well. So just to get a quick sense of how familiar people here are with OET writing, let's check. Okay, so some people are into the whole shebang. Okay, some people are just IELTS. Yeah, I just want basically want to get a sense of how many people here have like no idea what the OET is, and I may need to say a few things when time comes. All right, not into any of that. Well, that person who's not into any of that, be interesting to see if you can find uses of the method I'm showing today. All right, so okay, most people are into the OET. Okay. Moving on. Now, my OET experience specifically, I've been learning about it and teaching, helping candidates prepare since 2018. I'm mostly doing one-to-one coaching, and sometimes I'm doing on-demand group workshops. I very much enjoy collegial support and advisory, which goes both ways. And again, in terms of stats, you can see kind of where I stand with what I've been able to do so far for my clients. And I guess the way I could sum it up is I've got a highly tailored one and done approach. And I've thought about what's the secret sauce here? It's a blend of just being curious and then playing creatively with what what my curiosity provides, all in the service of connection. But for today, the secret sauce is more like getting down and getting stuck in and busy with the way in which people do things, not only what they do. So today is all about the how. Yeah, I was presenting in the webinar description, with teaching with insight and intention, but at the root of that is curiosity. So what is it that our learners do when we are not watching them? And ask ourselves non-judgmentally that, and without any preconceived ideas and without unverified assumptions, without unverified assumptions. And then watching what it is exactly that they do, what seems to be working for them. It doesn't have to work for you. It doesn't have to make full sense to you, but is it working for them? And then what's holding them back? This sort of curiosity brings insight that then you can apply with intention and truly personalize learning in a way that genuinely addresses what the learners need in an efficient and effective manner. And that will obviously build a close connection. I see my clients who are healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, dentists sometimes, as partners. We are learning together. We are learning about each other, about ourselves, about this exam, healthcare communication. It's very much of a two-way street. And with regards to writing, in April with Neil, we're talking about writing as kind of an iceberg. When we get our clients to write, I'm going to call them clients, like for me, they're clients, but also the learners, let's say, when we invite our learners to practice at home and write medical letters, for example, for the OET or essays for IELTS, they send us their work. We see the output, but how did that happen? I'm inviting you to write now in the chat or anonymously, whichever you prefer. How is it that you write? Or maybe you'd like to answer, how is it that your learners write? If you know that, yeah, if you already know. So let's say I'll drop in the chat the question, yeah? If we could watch a recording of you or your learners writing, what would we be seeing? And I don't mean like, okay, layout, language, ideas. I mean the process. What would we be seeing on that recording? What would go in, out, in, out, in, out? What would be changing? Of a specific level. To answer your question, I've worked with people who started from like a rusty A2 level all the way to C1 as a starting point. So I'm not really stuck on any specific level, generally English level to start with. If I want to be selective, I'm selective based on other things like attitude and we weigh each other all the time, and you get a sense of like, is this a person I can work with? It doesn't matter if they're beginners or elementary, intermediate, whatever. Yes, right. Oh, Ross, we need a showdown to find out who's more chaotic, because I'm betting that I am, but I don't know. I'd like to see yours. Yes, you're on. But we need someone to send us a case that neither of us knows. Yes. Neil says, I'm very aware of the process of writing. Yeah. False stars, deletions, additions. Yes. Oh, you always write a plan first. Okay. Okay. Some of my clients like to do that, but like really maybe half a plan. Let's see. Correcting as I go along. Yeah, I've seen people who correct at the end and some people who correct as they go along, or just choose specific moments and then do some proofing. Some planning. Hopefully you can see some planning and some drafts. Yeah, hopefully. Well, I don't know if anyone would be able to make sense of my writing. I don't know if I would understand it. Yeah, deconstructed, reconstructed. Yes, I agree, Alicia. Okay, good. Was it anything? Yeah, no, okay, let's move on. So I'm gonna spend as much time as possible with examples. Okay, so just like a step-by-step process, how does this work? So, okay, a learner completes an exam writing task at home. I want them to record their screen and to share that recording with me. It's very simple. It's nothing, I said in the description of the webinar, it's low tech, it's nothing fancy, no magic. And then I will watch the recording, take notes, identify problem areas, and think of what might work. Then we will meet to analyze the recording together. I would always invite the learner to also say, like, okay, you talk me through it and tell me what you noticed, and I'll share also my observations. We agree on some techniques to try out. I typically present them as experiments, and then in the next week, it wouldn't necessarily be like an exam simulation. Just okay, I try this out to see how this works. Try this out to see how this works. And the learner would be writing, experimenting with the suggested techniques, and there'll be another recording, and we'll watch it again and see, okay, is it working? And yeah, it tends to work. But let's see some examples. Garo says to correct at the end. Okay, so grab your popcorn. We're gonna watch some examples. I hope this works smoothly. I have permission from my clients and also from the OET. I had some exchange of emails with Rebecca Bush last month, and we figured out a way to share this today at the webinar. I will not be displaying the case notes, so the input that the candidates receive. I will only show the section of the screen where they are writing. But in this picture, if you look at my screen behind the popcorn, is on the left, you see that with white, yeah, in white, that will be the input that the candidates have to work with. And on the right here, the black, because this particular candidate was just practicing and preferred to use, I don't know, dark screen mode, a doc, let's say, with the medical letter being written. So that's pretty much how I advise them to do it. So like in the exam, they see the input on one side of the screen, and they write on the right side, and they can also do some highlights in yellow. Now, because not everybody is involved with the OET, with teaching for the OET, I'll just quickly go through how the OET writing is organized. So the candidates receive a clinical scenario, so this case of a patient, and the input consists of case notes, like a patient file, basically. It will contain all sorts of information, and not all of that will be relevant. So the candidate needs to exercise their clinical judgment. The writing task will be always to write a letter, medical letter, referring the patient to a specialist, for example, transferring the patient to a specialized or to another healthcare facility, discharging the patient, and writing a letter about the kind of I don't know, post-operative care that needs to happen for full recovery, updating the GP, for example, advising. Sometimes not all the professions will write letters of advice, but for example, a pharmacist for OET pharmacy might be writing a letter of advice directly to the patient or the patient's family about how to, I don't know, manage medication. For example. The body of the letter is considered in terms of size. So they're advised to write between 180 and 200 words. The first 5 minutes, they can only read case notes. They can't, the writing window is not active. And then they have 40 minutes that they can organize however they wish. They can keep reading, highlighting, they can start highlighting, and they can start writing. The assessment criteria are listed there below. I'm obsessed with purpose. It's purpose. It's something I kind of instill in my clients from the very beginning. Like, why is this letter being written? The reader, the intended reader, needs to get that immediately, and that needs to be perfectly on point. The content of the letter. Conciseness is really important. The patient case notes will always contain a lot more than needed, and there will be opportunities to summarize and synthesize. The style, the layout, and of course, the language. Okay, Now, if I missed anything important, please correct me. Okay, first example is not going to be a video. It's just displaying two letters 1 week apart. The one on the left, so kind of the body of the letter is 188. And the one on the right was written a week after, and it's 124 words. Have a quick look, and what do you think is going on here? So this is a pharmacist who submitted the letter on the left. There were actually two letters that week. And I was very impressed with how quick she was catching on. It's like, no, okay. So we were considering exam dates. And I said, all right. How about we record a sample? And I got the one on the right with 124 words. So we've got responses coming in. I'm gonna take advantage of this and check the chat. Oh yeah, Rose, thank you for sharing the link. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see. ChatGPT 4.1, ChatGPT 4.2. Uh-huh. When I talked about this with my client, she said, I had to use ChatGPT. I was just too embarrassed to send you. I was what I managed to write, meaning for the case on the left, and yeah, ChatGPT for two. And she said that no, the first letter was just what I managed to do was just not good enough. I knew it was not good enough, so I used ChatGPT, and then I sent it to you, and I was too embarrassed to say it. And that's when I introduced the recording method. I said, okay, it's really important to know what you can do. I was kind of happy, not dismissive about it, saying that, well, let's take the good part. Now you have a pretty solid idea of the kind of writing you need to be doing, the kind of the criteria. We had already looked at that a couple of rounds, but we have not done any screen recordings. And I said, okay, I think it's worth doing. And now like stopping the use of tools and just do what you can, record that. Then if you want to polish and you know what you want to change it and send me two versions. Send me the screen recording with what you were able to do in the time available, and then send me the second version with what you thought was worth changing. So the one on the right with 124 words is what she was able to do in the exam time recording and not using any help from anywhere. Yeah. Okay. So in OET terms, the second letter would be considered underdeveloped. Also, there's let's say a good start with purpose at the top of the letter, but there's no reiteration of the request, no expansion of the request at the end of the letter, which is something that would be useful and rewarded in the assessment. All right, temporary notes. You said planning. Let's watch. Let's see, this should load pretty fast, I hope. Let's watch an example of a, come on, play. Yeah, okay. It's supposed to be fuzzy. this is one of the problems when with recording is that not everybody like is on top of like things resolution and stuff. So sometimes I would get a recording that is kind of poor resolution, or there's been some compression happening in transfer or something like that. I'm okay as long as I can tell what's going on. Fine. So I want to show you here. This candidate is going to insert some temporary marks, you see? So he just added some temporary marks here and here at the beginning. And this was to signal to himself, this is something I want to come back to. And then he's gonna actually look at the notes. So I saw the mouse action. He's gonna look at the notes, and instead of writing full sentences, he's just dropping in the writing space. He's just dropping in information from the case notes that he wants to use in the letter and eventually turn into full sentences. So that's an approach that he had. Other people don't spontaneously do something like that. And exactly what he is doing is what helped the client whose writing I showcased in April at the Ealthy symposium. Oh, okay. Look at the exclamation marks. Yeah, my client is just noticing, oh, this is a patient who has already been to the burns unit. Okay, I need to connect that because in this letter, the doctor is sending the patient basically back to the hospital where Molly Smith had already received some treatment. So that's important in taking into consideration the fact that the reader would have access to a lot more information on what happened in hospital. So there is some history there. Yeah, so this approach that my client preferred to have temporary markings and just drop in information and then expand it into sentences. Another client of mine had never considered. And she would always say, I don't have time, I don't have time, there's not enough time. And I said, okay, why isn't there enough time? Let me see. She would spend minutes and minutes upon minutes tinkering with an inconsequential word choice and getting stuck with that. And then I showed her, look, consider doing something like that. As soon as she started using temporary markings and these sorts of things, she was able to get much more value out of the time that she had. Okay, another example. Now, let me know if you can see what's going on. I'm not going to give you much here. It's gonna the image is going to be clearer. All right, so this is a cropped section. So my client has the information about the patient on the left. There's a big title on the page. She's using OneNote with the name of the patient, and here she's writing the letter. And we're going straight in at minute 9:40. Can you tell me what's going on here? 3x speed. So this is my client thinking, thinking, thinking. There's a bit of a, how should I word this? Thinking how to start introducing the patient to the reader. How to do it, how to do it. Again, this is 3x speed. So she's spending quite a bit of time. So the patient fell and bruised her nose, and that stays all the way into the final letter. Everything you see here doesn't get edited out or modified, although she does review her letter. So what is wrong name? Yeah, she just didn't notice it. Yeah, which brings us to an important point I've discovered about the way we read, and especially how we read what we write. It really is a case of blindness. Well, paraphrasing the sample. Yeah, there's some paraphrasing, yeah, but what happened was, how do I go back to, yeah, here. What happened is that the bruising of the nose is really not relevant anymore. And the mistaken identity, picking up on the doctor's name and using the doctor's name instead of the patient's name and not noticing that at all, yeah, it's different. Something about how we write, and it influences how we are able to check our work. When we read back, the brain tends to read from memory, even if your eyes communicate to your brain what it is that you're looking at. Yeah, the like black scribblings on the white page. Yeah, but your brain is kind of not paying attention to what your eyes are saying. Your brain is going like, yeah, I know what I wanted. I know what I meant. I know what I wanted to say. And this is stronger in some people than in others. And some people have really hard time identifying their own mistakes, including spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, because they read from the memory of what they meant to say, and they actually don't see these errors at all. So one way I found that can help, for example, when this goes on, is to have those particular clients who have this issue read backwards. So when time comes and you want to do like a language proofing, don't read from, upper left to lower right, read backwards so that your mind is like decoupled from the ideas, the content of the letter, and your eyes your mind can really focus on what your eyes are seeing. So it's kind of cracked the problem for some people who are like, when I would point them to the word, I was like, what does it say? Oh, whoa, really? I wrote that? Yeah, you did. You actually looked at it 7 times. I did? Yeah, and this is an example of blindness and an irrelevant bruised nose. Moving on to another example. Something that OET candidates struggle with is, okay, what's relevant to include from the case notes and what's not so relevant, and what's marginally relevant and what should be maybe just summed up and not explained into full detail. The case note will include information that's absolutely critical for the reader to know, some that is completely irrelevant, and some that's a kind of a gray zone. So in this letter, my client, this is about a patient who had a heart attack and whose life is, don't tell her I said so, in a bit of a mess. And there's some kind of problems going on. We don't need to go into those, they're too private, but it is clinically relevant to know that she's under a lot of stress. And that her personal life, there's some difficulties in her personal life. So in this letter, the bit about that ended up here, where you can see it. Let's watch how my client got to that. So now we're very early in the letter. Yeah, so it's actually at the beginning of the letter. And now who is Eleanor Bennett? A mother of 2. And what you're looking at took my client 2 minutes to write. So, extremely stressed. I want to say this as like one doctor to another. How to say it? Wonder what's the best way to say it? Stressed mother who's stressed. A stressed mother who wants to. How to do it? How to do it? Wants to what? Wants to take what? Oh, custody. And already she's gone. Oh no, that doesn't sound good. Yeah. So my client like spent 2 minutes putting it in, taking it out, thinking about early on, yeah, thinking about how to share this somewhat relevant information. And what we ended up with is kind of, well, back to the divorce and the custody, which is too much. It's not something to include, in such detail. And I've seen another client spend 5 minutes on this. So this is not a language obstacle. This is more of, it invites a kind of discussion about when and to what extent is social background relevant in a medical letter, and how to report on it concisely and in a way that does not, I don't know, throw the patient under the bus or expose the patient in any way. So this invites a sort of follow-up discussion, and then it would be easier to handle in the next case. Another example. Wording of medication history, tinkering with words. I was talking to Ross and Chris earlier that if we don't have time for all these examples, I can send them the videos, these short video samples, and they can add them to the page on the Ealthy website where the recording will be available, so you can watch back and also watch those that we don't have time for today. So I'm actually going to skip this one. I don't think it's that important. It's just a kind of like tinkering with word choice. But take a look at this one. There's a lot of Mrs. Carroll have a medical history. She had no recent injury and she experienced. So there are some language problems here. And I wanted to know, is it because my client didn't have time? Or are these systemic errors? Or how many times has she looked over this paragraph? What's going on here? I mean, how much language practice do we need here? Or maybe it's more of a content, like thinking about the content kind of situation that leaves her without time to check. So let's see exactly what she does. And very interestingly, just so you know, this particular client has the following pattern when she writes letters. So I told you earlier that it was like you have 5 minutes of reading time. You're not allowed to write in the first 5 minutes. First 5 minutes are just for you to get acquainted to the patient case and begin to visualize it in your mind and plan the letter in your head. Afterwards, you can spend more time in planning or start writing. It's up to you. But she routinely spent, like repeatedly spent 17 minutes just planning and just thinking about the letter. This particular letter, she wrote the whole letter in 12 minutes. And the paragraph you saw previously, she wrote it in 3. And then she had 16 minutes to edit and proofread. So she worked on the letter several times, and this particular paragraph she revisited 2 times for a total of 1 minute and 15 seconds. So she basically worked on it 3 times, and she had plenty of time to edit and proofread. So this is the paragraph that I showed you earlier, like the finished so-called finished version. She hasn't deactivated her spell check suggestions, but she's not using them. I think she's got her computer set to German with some other yeah, it's at one point there was something popping up in German in her doc. Yeah, so here I watch her writing, and as I kept watching, I saw that she had plenty of time to revisit this, and she actually looked at this paragraph on 2 separate occasions after writing the first draft. So then, yes, I know it is worth doing some follow-up practice on proofreading and correcting these errors. And so I created tailored error correction exercises for her. Like this time, yes, I can use AI tools and try to do it efficiently, but it was personalized practice based on the kinds of errors she was doing and for the kind of, at the point that served her well. And in the next letter, here we see her editing. In the next letter, we could see that she was writing already a little bit cleaner, and there were significantly fewer errors of this kind. Okay, another one. Here I don't have a video. I don't think we need one. Just layout. This particular client had, let me check. Yeah, spent 8.5 minutes planning, including reading and planning. And she had 2 minutes and 15 seconds at the end. And she was trying to edit and proofread. You could see the mouse going in different directions. She was looking at, she just didn't know what to do. And some of the low-hanging fruit would have been just the layout. Takes a couple of seconds to do it. She was just confused, didn't know how to edit. So okay, let's go into that. What does editing and proofreading your draft mean? Okay, writing with invisible ink. Well, the examples I showed in April at the AI symposium were with a client who, at the time, I forgot to say, had just had her exam the day before. And I showed examples of how she went from not having time to finish and check to having sufficient time to finish and check. And this is what she said. We met recently just to, for a friendly chat and reflection. And this is what she said about what had helped her in the OET preparation. I didn't cut, so you will hear also of other methods that she's mentioning. So she's mentioning 3 or 4 things. I didn't cut those out. So this is what she said. It's 2.5 minutes.
I want to ask you about the preparation for the OET. Now, looking back on it, what was the most useful stuff? What was the best stuff?
I think I enjoyed practicing with others because I used to, I was listening from the other perspective, and you can get useful information from them.
I'm interrupting just to clarify. I invite my clients, even if I work one-to-one with them, I invite them to get in touch if they want to and practice together, which they typically do.
I liked the spinning wheel that we did. It targeted my problem.
This was something we did for speaking, personalized. And then?
I like the screen recorder as well, because after you checked it, you used to tell me what I need to improve. After you told me that, I was working with that specific points, and and it saved me a lot of time during the exam. Yeah. And it was easy for me not to stop and just stare at my screen, but just to continue. I liked how we did with the reading task 1, because I didn't have enough time every time to do it. And I think it helped me like to improve and to get faster, you know. Method you advised me to do, like to not to go like
We use the same screen recording method on reading.
properly one by one. But
Yeah.
I like the exercises that you prepared for me, as like after I've done the exercises, I used to check them for a few more like lessons, you know, like
Yeah.
in the exam, I finished my letter 10 minutes earlier.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So she had never had that kind of time early on. This is a candidate who had tried the IELTS exam 9 times before saying, oh no, I give up, and trying the OET. And I said, okay, let's do it one time. And that is what we did. Okay, Ross suggests that we finish. So this would be a full sample, a full sequence that I can share on the site on the Ealthy site where the recording of the webinar would be. I was kind of on the fence whether we would have time for this or not. And just to invite a discussion now, the devil seems to be in the details. Some of the technical things that have happened is that people have like forgotten to record or forgotten to save, or some poor resolution, as you were able to see, or a file so big that it's kind of very hard to play. And another one on the teacher side is that we are pressed with time, so we need to kind of find an efficient way to go about this. So I'm now playing, I used to play at 2x and now I play at 4x. I pause and use the cursor to go back and forth. That makes it a lot easier. But if you're starting at the beginning, I would give it 1 hour to just really watch and think about what's going on. Not sure about how this would scale because I mostly do it one-to-one, but I am noticing patterns, and I do see how an archive could build into applications and examples that would help groups. And the most important is like these sharing your process is intimate thing. It's uncomfortable to do. Oh, it would be uncomfortable to show you how I write. I don't even want to watch myself, but that's why it's important to like respect and be empathetic, and I'll make it a little bit fun and not too much of a big deal. Panopto is a free online recorder that my clients use, and I think we can end with some of the benefits that I've noticed. I think it's really important that candidates feel really cared for, really seen. It makes preparation much more relevant and efficient. Exam success, I think, is what we're after. There's also more self-awareness and new techniques that they leave with, and for everyone involved, including me, you, us, feeling that, job well done. And so what ideas does this give you? Chat, anonymous answers in Pear Deck, if you wish, or in the Q&A. Let's see.
Okay, thank you, Ioana. That was fantastic. It's really fascinating. I think having an insight, I told you before, I've never seen this in action before. But it seems like a couple of people are doing something similar. I think Alicia's gone already, but she seems to be recording people as well, but on using their phone or something, which seems not, would be difficult to maybe to manage. Maybe this panopto.com
it's free. It's free.
the way to go.
It's like it's the simplest, easiest one I found, because I really don't like to have my clients like set up accounts and like, oh, no.
Yeah. No, that's fine. And I think the fact that you're taking, sort of considering them and how this might impact on them psychologically as well, like you say, having somebody watch you, having somebody listen to you speak, for example, is already sort of pretty challenging. People are generally okay with that, because it's sort of, well, we do it all the time, we do it every day, but to have somebody, I used to have a boss who would stand over me while I was typing, and it's like, fine, she's dictating to me, but it's kind of part of the job. But it is sort of like, really puts you on edge. But making sure you make that step to consider, how they feel about the process as well. That's good.
Yeah. I said that I had a full sample prepared, like 4x speed is kind of a 10 minutes thing. For that particular sample, my client said, and her exam is tomorrow.
Well, good luck.
Well, she started with the speaking, actually the writing is next week, but anyway, fingers crossed. She said, well, actually recording the screen puts me in exam mode, because otherwise,
that's a good point.
Yeah, otherwise I'm really tempted to check ChatGPT and stuff. And
that's actually a very good point as well.
Yeah.
So although it's sort of, you're watching to be able to give them feedback and develop their skills, but at the moment of, yes, of course, I hadn't thought about that, and it puts them more in an exam mode. That's good. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Listen, just have one question here from Mayella that you might have already responded to, I'm not sure, but she says, what's the back reading process called? I'm interested to know.
I don't know. Let's just call it back reading. Reading backwards?
Okay.
So I don't know. I just noticed, I'm one of those people who, if you ever get an email from me that has the silliest language mistake inside, it's because I've looked at it 10 times and didn't see it. Okay, so I would have to, just like read backwards, like read the words. So then your eyes really focus on the spelling.
Right.
For grammar, read the sentences, like start with the last sentence, move to the last but one, Okay. Otherwise your mind is very deep into the case. Yeah, so
that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, proofreading, somebody had mentioned it earlier in the chat, that the proofreading, they don't know where to start with proofreading.
Yes.
And that is that's a way to sort of move into the proofreading side. Yeah. Neil is saying back reading is a common term taught on PhDs. One of the few things I ever learnt from doing my unfinished one. Okay. I won't put Neil too much on the spot with that one. He does have a question, however, in the question Q&A. He says, how do you approach the training of candidates who are preparing for the paper-based tests?
I was tempted to include that too, but I was like, fear that, editing down to these examples has been hard enough. So I get them to take pictures of the page every 5 minutes and send me the sequence.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But you can be sure that they're getting it, that they're doing it exactly as, I don't know, anyway. But yes, I guess that's
with people who, well, even if they don't, they will eventually tell me.
Actually, I need to correct something I said. Right. I need to correct something I said earlier. Sorry, is that Alicia was saying that she teaches a lot of people doing the paper-based test, and that's where this having a camera, having a phone, watching the writing process.
I was teaching only paper-based. Like my candidates would only want paper-based, while paper-based was still available in Bucharest. When a candidate learned that the last date for paper-based in Romania was, like, I don't know, last year or 2 years ago in July, she said, "Oh no, that's my exam date. I am not doing this on computer. No." And it's not people who don't know how to use devices. It's just that many healthcare professionals think better with a pencil in their hand, or they're afraid of losing their day, and they want to benefit from the ability to like do things with a pencil on the page while preparing to listen. So they too freaked out of that. So I've had one candidate who got like a clean 500 point, like top maximum possible score in reading, for example, last year.
Wow.
No,
I've just processed that. Sorry, yeah.
To her credit, not mine. We worked on writing and speaking. She was very, very, very smart and very good at English, but no clinical experience. She was kind of lost with speaking and writing. It was very much Dr. House, Hollywood. So that's what we focused on. But she was very tech savvy and all of that. She said, I am not doing this on computer. I absolutely need to do it on paper. And she went to Sheffield to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She went all the way to Sheffield to do the
I
test.
am not doing, and I'm really sorry that the paper-based version is no longer available in Romania, because I can totally see some of my clients their minds would just like take a pencil in your hand, is like, woo, something changes. So that's why I say
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
that's I would ask them to take pictures, so I have some examples of how the letter develops.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good way around it. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
You win some, you lose some with the paper-based and with the computer-based. Also, in terms of preparation, what's possible and what's not.
Sure. No, for sure. Listen, that's been an excellent discussion today, and some really, really good comments. You need to you have a chance to read them later on.
Will I be able to?
I think so. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So yeah.
I want to thank you. Thank you to everyone. I'm sorry for all the blurbs and stuff. I'm happy to be here.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
To share our ideas together. Yeah.
Yes. Well, hopefully, yes. Hopefully. Thank you to everybody for attending. Thanks to everybody for attending. We will be having a webinar in September, that's for sure, and the information will be available very soon, I don't doubt. And in the meantime, if anybody in the audience is interested in giving a webinar like the one we had today on any aspect of English for healthcare, not necessarily OET, then please don't hesitate to get back to us. All right, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.